Oh, wow. Hi, guys. Welcome to my podcast. I hope you can hear me very well. Can't believe I'm doing this. But for the YouTube gang, hi, guys. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl, Barbie, and I'm back after a very, very long time. Can you see a difference in the setup? And even from the thumbnail, you can tell it's very different. For my audio listeners, hi, it's me, Dr. Winifred Ikeme. That has been something I have been overthinking ever since I got this project on my mind. You know, Introducing myself has been something that has been quite a bit confusing to me. But yeah, guys, welcome to the Becoming Her podcast. For the first episode, I'll be reading out my intro, so excuse me, guys, okay? So, welcome to Becoming Her, a space where we talk about love, Christ, growth, relationships, and becoming the woman we are meant to be. And I'm glad, when I knew from my wedding series, which was a content that I'd created for my TikTok and my YouTube. While creating that series, I had the inkling that the next step was to go into podcast. And it was something that I talked to my husband about. And I prayed about it because at first I thought it was going to be a couples podcast where we talk about, dating as a millennial and a Gen Z, as we're from two different generations. But then after a lot of praying, I realized that it's a me thing. And that has been one of the hardest things to do. I listen to podcasters, but most of the podcasters I listen to, I do. The only solo podcasters I listen to is Cocktails and Takeaway. Guys. Okay. It's Cocktail and Takeaway. That's the only solo podcaster, and it's more like an interview. Once in a while, she does solo podcasting. So that was quite a thing. And I have pushed this podcast for years. I remember having a conversation with one of my friends, and we are talking about some podcasters that needed their mic taken away from them. So that was, something that I've been thinking about. So basically, you'll be wondering, why should you listen to my podcast then? There's so much podcasters, and why why here? I think just like I was talking with my mom, and I said that I am kind of a scapegoat. So I am the first child. So I don't have any other person to look up to or to talk to in navigating life apart from her and my parents. And it's been something that I wish I had a podcaster that I could listen to, that I could relate to. So basically, I was praying to God one day, and He was like, there is a reason that you have to experience things. And even in my friendship group, I would think I was like one of the first people that was close to me that got married, like close to me, for me to really know, someone that got married. So there are so many things I wished I had someone to tell me about. So I'm like your internet big sis. And basically, we would just be talking about vibes and different things. I have outlined different aspects that we will talk about. But on today's episode, our topic is, red flags. But before we go into that, I want us to talk about my music for the week. So I was listening to some songs last night, and I decided to, add it to the music of the week. So let me confirm those music. Give me a minute. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. So the music of the week, we have a song by Lauren Hill. I was listening to the song yesterday and I was shocked because I really didn't know she was the one that sang the song, but yeah. Okay. It's called Killing Me Softly with His Words. It's a group of them. They call themselves Fugues. And yeah. Then another song is I'd Rather Go Blind, which made me now go to Listen from Beyonce. And then I now went into watching the movie Dreamgirls. But yeah, that's my song for the week. Killing Me Softly. I don't know. And it kind of relates with our topic for today, which is called dating phase. Okay? So, in today's topic, we're basically talking about different types of red flags, how like dating on its own, is an aspect of life that no one kind of prepares you for. So, as a young child, you're told go to school, and after that, when you're done, get married. But people don't really talk about the dating phases and the different things that you're supposed to look out for, the patterns and things to look out for. Early on, I had known that I didn't want to enter into a relationship in junior secondary because I had some people at that stage of my life that were like entering into relationships, but I didn't want to, especially like our generation. Like, if you're born from 1999, 2000, you for sure had a lot of classmates that went into relationships early on. I remember the first time I was introduced into the concept of relationship, having a boyfriend. I think that was in my primary school. I think probably like primary 3, primary 2, one of them. I remember it was a social studies class, and I had this classmate that she liked a guy, and the guy liked her too, and they started dating. Now, at that point, I don't think I fully understood the concept of, dating and what it was like, you know, different things to look out for. And I think like dating differs according to the stage that you are in life, the things that you look out for, the thing that you allocate as red flags and stuff is kind of, different. I would say that dating in, uni is really different from dating in secondary school and dating in primary school. I got into my first relationship when I was in secondary school. And I remember I liked this guy, and I told myself, like, I wasn't going to date him in my junior secondary because the kind of person I was, I don't know why, but I kind of like set standards for myself. Don't ask me who gave me. I think also it also has to relate to my mom. In this podcast, I'll be talking about so many people in my life, but the person I'll mention most of the time is my mom because we have such a close relationship. As I don't really have an older sibling, my mom became my older sibling. So I remember my mom always said, "Oh, don't follow boys and stuff like that. And if you sit down close to a boy, you will get pregnant." So yeah, I think because of that, I told myself that I didn't want to get into a relationship until I fully understood what it meant. So I think my just one, just two, I think I had people that liked me. God, I'm a pretty girl. Oh Lord, do not buy me. But yeah, I had people that came, and I was really not interested in the relationship aspect of it because I knew for sure that I did not want to get into a relationship at that point in my life. Now, just three. Also, for my just one, that I had this guy I liked. I really liked him, but like I didn't think he liked me. And I think looking back at it, I should have stuck with my guts, because I really do not think that the person I ended up being in a relationship with, looking back at it, I do not think that the person liked me. So the dating phase, I think it's about like figuring out things that you like, or things that you do not like. I think it's really, really important for people to date. I really think it is important for people to date, because a lot of people kind of like remove dating. They are like, oh no, do not date, do not be in relationships, yada yada yada. But no, I am not of that mindset. I think people should date, because that is when you find out things that somebody likes about you, or you like about somebody, or things that you don't like. Why am I talking about this? Because moving into like the segue of like red flags, I think everybody throws around, especially recent generations, we throw around the word red flags a lot. Oh, he's a red flag, he's a green flag, he's a yellow flag. I think last year there was a trend that was going around that was like, he someone will be like, oh, he goes to church every Sunday, but he smokes, and then everybody will be like, oh, he's a red flag. Or they'll be like, she's a child of God, but she likes to drink. Oh, different flagging. They put human beings in flags. Well, I do not believe in that. Okay, don't get me wrong, there are flags. I'm not saying there are no red flags. There are red flags. But what I'm saying is that those are the intricacies of human beings. And what this flagging does is it basically helps you to find out about what you would do, like what you would accept and what you would not accept. Now, like one thing I would say is dating is not just about attraction, which is something that I had to realize after my high school relationship. You do not date someone just because you're attracted to that person. Because I think, like I said, the person I got into a relationship with, it was basically infatuation, teenage lust. I think that a part of it was teenage lust. Another part of it was I didn't want to be the odd one out. Because when I think back at so many things I did, I don't think for sure, I know I was not matured enough, but the relationship I shouldn't have been in, because it ended up scarring me in ways that it shouldn't have. So I shouldn't have been in. So even like as I'm making like this podcast, is it's for the younger girl out there, that you have friends that are in relationships and you're 16 and you're thinking, oh, but I want to be in a relationship. I would say wait, because at the same instance that you want to do it because of people, you might not fully know what you're entering into. But at the end of the day, all our experiences shape us. Now, sometimes we women end up having red flags that are built based on being in relationships that we are not supposed to be in. You get, sometimes it can be little patterns, little inconsistencies, and different things that you might not know. So, what I would say is, when you're picking out somebody's red flag, look for something that is more like a non negotiable. Okay. So, I was reading this book, Nearly All the Men in Lagos Are Mad. If you have not read that book, please read it. And as I was reading this book, I was laughing a lot because of the the realness of this book. I once had a friend, well, she's still my friend, but like I have okay, you know what? I had someone go through an experience with somebody where they went on a date with this guy, and they had gone on a few dates, and basically the person had expressed that I do not want to date at this point. I'm rediscovering myself and stuff like that. So I'm really taking a chill pill on being in a relationship. And the guy took it as a thing to now open up and be like, oh, this is what I want in my wife. And then one day he messaged my friend and was like, where are you? And my friend was like, oh, I'm in church. And he now said, you'll not ask me where I am. She was like, oh, fine, where are you? And he was like, oh, I'm in a beer parlor. Come and buy me beer. So now it's easy for us to be like, damn, red flag, red flag, red flag. But it's basically now you seeing that, okay, I do not want to be with someone that does not understand the sacredness, the sanctity of the fact that I am in church. Even if, and then, so many things. You hear people say, oh, a guy wants, especially the amount of debates people have on social media. Oh, I want a woman that washes all the dishes. Oh, I want a man that provides. Everybody has all these things. But all those things makes dating hard. Because there is being in a relationship in the world, and there's being in a relationship as a child of God. Why am I saying this? The Bible talks about dating as betrothment, because most of the times that's the thing that was really done in the Bible time. Many people had to be betrothed to one another. People didn't just have to just be just because they wanted to be. And I think that that's something that people need to know. Dating with a purpose. It will help you to select the weeds out of the grass or something like that. Or the weeds out of the trees. Yeah, I think that makes more sense. That's more agriculturally correct. Okay? So, coming back to me, after I'd been in my high school relationship and I realized things like I would not be with somebody that cheats on me, because my high school partner, or I won't even say partner, my high school relationship, the guy was like a little cheat. And that helped me to create patterns. I wasn't going to be with someone that was emotionally insensitive, because I think my high school relationship was done, but instead of the person that I was with telling me it's done, the person waited. That kind of emotional manipulation that a guy would do sometimes. The relationship is over, which sometimes, unfortunately, most men do it. The relationship is over, but they do not want to be the first person to call it quits. So they just wait until you take the leap of faith and walk out. So I did that. I had to walk out of the relationship. And that helped me to form my mindset. I would say, early on, I already knew things that I wanted in a partner. I knew the basic things. I want him to be kind. I want him to love me. I think that's one thing that my mom always kind of puts it in my head, be love, love, love conquers all. Even till today, my mother will always preach love. My mother does not preach money, and I think most African parents, she doesn't preach money. She doesn't preach all these things. She's preach of love, love first, love first, love first. So I wanted to be with someone that loved me more than I loved the person. But guess what happened? Nah, I do not learn. So I feel like that's the thing with even my sister and I. Sometimes we just like to be with people that don't like us. Which is funny, because that's the same thing that happened to me. After high school, that I had been with somebody that didn't like me, I came to uni and I met a guy that I liked. And the guy didn't like me. But I had this fixie mindset that us women have, oh my God, I'm gonna make him like me. And thank God, I feel like that's why sometimes it's good to have, a male friend. Because I had this friend that slapped my head. I was like, are you crazy? A guy doesn't like you, he doesn't like you. You will not make him like you. You cannot make him like you. You have to know when to walk away. And that was when I realized, like, oh, really? And that set a standard for me, which is the next thing, is that there's a difference between having a standard on unrealistic expectations of people. Okay? So that set a standard for me. I now knew that I want to be with a guy that likes me. Not like I knew that, but I knew that for sure. I want to be with a guy that likes me more than I like him. So that was a standard. But the unrealistic expectation is me wanting it to be like that throughout the relationship. And that's unrealistic. It cannot happen throughout the relationship. I feel like after being in a relationship for a long time, I realized that it's more like some days someone's love is 50, the other day someone's love is 80. Some days I cannot get over, like sometimes it's almost like my heart wants to explode with love. So yeah, I feel like that also set the standard for me. And then when I met my partner, my husband, it helped me kind of realize so many things. Another thing I also want to talk about before we end is listening to your intuition and having discernment. After I'd gotten out of the situationship that I kind of put myself in, because nobody put me there, I put myself in, I think I had to pull back and kind of pray, because I was like, I am tired. There's this part of me that has this need to be loved and love. And also, there is a part of me that wants to be in a genuine relationship. And so I started going on dates. When I was going on dates, and which is what I say to people, is that when you are dating, do not just date one person. Try to date so many people that you can kind of see what you like. So I went on a date with this guy, and when I went on a date, he took it upon himself to order what he thought I would like. And by this time, I am someone that I'm very open with my appetites, but there are some things I just do not like. So there's this thing in Belarus they call blinchki or something. It's like a crepe, but they put things inside. And normally I do not eat crepes. I do not eat pancakes. I do not like things like that. So this person took it upon himself to order for me. Now, if he took his time to get to know me, he would know that I wouldn't like this. So I already knew that no, that's not it. He's not someone that listens. Because a guy that listens will kind of listen from the first date. So that is things that I feel like people should look out for. I'm not saying sit down when you have like a talking stage and write, these are my red flags, these are my green flags. What I'm saying is that see people for who they are. Because one man's food or one man's poison is another man's food, or one man's food is another man's poison, which basically means that what someone else might like about somebody and consider a green flag might be a red flag to you. For example, there are some women that feel like they like men that order for them, like they go to a restaurant. Me, I feel like that's you not giving me autonomy. At least let me be able to select what goes into my mouth. So there are women that wants to sit down, be a housewife, not do anything. For me, I'm someone that I woke up one morning and I decided I want to bake. And I have to be someone that is spontaneous and supports me. I'm somebody that needs support. Some women, everybody has different things they need. So I would say categorize people into like red flags, green flags, and other things. I would say have, standards and so many things. So yeah, that's just the few things. I don't want to bore you guys on the first episode. That's just so many things I want plan to talk about. I have a long list of things I want to talk about. Um, I was in a long distance relationship, so I want to talk about that, the do's and the don'ts. Finding God in your 20s, what that was like for me. Financial stability in your 20s. I would not say I'm financially stable. I would say what it looks like to have finances in your 20s, basically. relationship dynamic, how it changes from being students to being working and being married couples, because that's my dynamic. I also want to talk about friendship and relationship balance and so many things. I want to talk about so many aspects of becoming me. Basically, that's what this podcast is. It's just the process, the thing that it took to just become the woman I am today and the woman I am becoming in the future. It's kind of, it has been a long journey. When I was thinking of this podcast, the name for it, and so many things for it, and why it's a bee, I wanted it to be a butterfly, but I ended up going with a bee because a bee also goes through a process of, turning, of making honey. So, yeah, that's another thing. And why I picked Becoming Her, because I feel like this podcast is a space I want to talk about so many things. I have so many things on my mind to talk about, and it's almost like a safe space to talk to fellow people that are just trying to navigate life in our 20s. This year, I'm entering my late 20s, which is wow to me. It's such a marvelous thing of the amount of things I've learned. And basically, this year, I want to come out of my comfort zone. This has been one of the biggest things that I have done. And I hope it grows. And yeah, very soon, I would also be talking about like different dilemmas and so many things. But for now, I will just close saying this. Dating isn't about convincing someone to choose you. It's about discerning whether this person is aligned with the life you are becoming. Okay? Dating phases, there are going to be so many aspects. So next week we will talk about what it means to date with intention, what it means to set boundaries and have, you know, better boundaries for yourself in a relationship, because a lot of things and a lot of things happen that sometimes it makes you pull down those boundaries while in a relationship. And I think that you would know my thoughts next week. And also, one thing I would say is that standards are not about perfection. Standards are about protecting your peace, your faith, and your future. Lowering standards to keep someone never leads to fulfillment. And I will beat my chest with this. Before I even end, let me end with one more thing. You know, my former relationship that I was in, or the one relationship, high school thing, I knew that being with someone that cheats on you is bad, but I didn't know why. So when I got cheated on in high school, I did not know why I should leave. Do you understand? But later on in life, I realized that that was me lowering my standard to keep someone. And what I knew was that I started trying to make the person I was with like me more. And that's why I realized that staying with someone that cheats on you is not good, because you almost have to overexert yourself trying to prove to this person like love me better than you love that other person, which is never a good thing. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoy today's first episode. Happy Valentine's Day, because yes, this is coming out on Valentine. So if you don't have a Valentine, don't run and go and be with somebody, okay? And I will try to open up more. I'm just a bit. It's my first episode, so I'm a bit shy, but like, yeah, guys. Thank you. See y'all next week on Becoming Her podcast. Make sure to tune in on all your listening platforms, and see you next week. Mwah.